This is the My Amazon Guy podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Pope, founder of the agency My Amazon Guy. Tune in each week to learn how to grow your Amazon sales. How to start an Amazon brand with Kenmore Coffee. This is the My Amazon Guy show, and today we're talking to Jonathan and Dillon Carter. Thank you guys for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We are not related. My last name is not Carter. Just
yeah,
FYI.
you didn't have your last name on the Zoom. I tried to cheat here.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
yeah, I'll put it in the show notes. Your last name doesn't matter though. So
no, it really doesn't.
So what are you guys doing on my podcast? What's going on?
You told us to be here.
Yeah.
TBD, right? No.
TBD?
So apparently we had you on our podcast, Welcome to Growth, and apparently you had so much fun that you said you had to have us on, and we're like, forget the reason, we'll figure that out.
So this is the first time we've ever done a 4-person podcast on My Amazon Guy. We also have on the phone or on the podcast or the pod, as you guys like to call it, Dustin Fenton. He's the right-hand man over at My Amazon Guy. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, Stephen.
So super excited to do this today, guys, and totally forgot to put on my headphones. So I'm doing that right now. So let's start with you, Jonathan. What is your story? Like, where are you with your brand launch?
So I'm still pretty early in it, and that's arguably because I have no idea what the hell I was doing when I started. And I'm entirely fine with admitting that there was a lot of things I didn't know, and I didn't know what I didn't know. You know, if nothing else, even if this just never works out, like the sheer amount of knowledge I've gained through this process is just beautiful by itself, right? I've spent way too much time in the intricate details of everything, and it's exhilarating. I'm loving every moment of it. So we're not quite live yet. I'm hoping to make that happen here in the next month or so. I'm running out of things to do before hitting the launch button, which is
it kind of a hurry up and wait situation right now?
Yeah, at this point, I'm waiting for my graphic artist to finalize some artwork for the labels. Each of the labels will have custom artwork, and turns out graphic artists being graphic artists kind of do what they do and
flake, pay me, and then I'll get around to it 2 months later. Yep.
It's like, well, and it's like I told the guy, I was like, look, I have this stack of money that I've set aside for this. Like, and I told him, I was like, look, here's my money. Basically, this is how much I'm willing to give you. Let's do this. And that was like 8 weeks ago. And
sounds like you've got a passive income business. Yeah. So this thing called Amazon, where you come and try and launch a brand, and all of a sudden it just prints money, right? So when I was on your guys' podcast the other day, we joked and laughed a lot about that. So first of all, what is the name of your other podcast?
Dillon, you want to say some words? I'm eating.
We're rolling with Cheetos and Real Talk, authentic, off-script podcast today. But go ahead, Dillon.
Jonathan is ready today. Okay,
Cheetos too, by the way. They're special.
You're one of those guys.
Which is gross.
Vegan.
The aftertaste is like milk, and I would never recommend it to anybody. But I'm eating them because I bought a ton, and I don't want to waste them. So, anyways, continue.
No,
Dillon.
throw that
Please
away. Jonathan, throw it away.
You're going hungry during COVID because you haven't left your house in 5 months. I understand. What day of the week is it? February 73rd?
Yeah. March 310th. Yes. Dillon, please try to sell us. Please salvage it.
All right. So our podcast is called Welcome to Growth. Our primary audience, I would say, is Amazon sellers, but we're not an Amazon specific podcast. Instead, it's more or less me and Jonathan talking business. Messing around, being witty, and really just having like real conversation. So the way we approach it is it's very casual. We just jump. We have like a scheduled, weekly call. We just jump on and record it. And half the time we don't have a script. We don't have a reason. We just jump in and say, hey, what's going on? Okay, cool. That's what we're talking about today. And let's go for it. And so it's really a peek into what's going on in both of our lives, because we run different companies. We've actually never met in person, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, it's just kind of where is Jonathan and Dillon at this moment, and what's on their minds.
So authentic story, which is cool. And I really enjoyed being on your podcast. And so So today we're going to try and continue 2.0 version because I really enjoyed it so much. And I think my listeners will appreciate your authenticity and Jonathan's, progression of his Amazon brand. And hopefully Dustin can pepper in some coffee jokes while we're on the phone today. So I keep saying phone.
My best.
I don't know why I keep saying phone. This is a pod. We're in the 25th century or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Please roast me, as they say.
Yeah. Let's roast it up. There we go. We called the other podcast. What was it? Something Creamer. Help me
Creamer
out.
Talk.
Creamer Talk. Yeah. So
we're really creative.
This will be Creamer Talk 2.0, but how to actually start a coffee brand on Amazon. All right. So Jonathan, let's talk history then. So we understand you're just about to launch.
Mm-hmm.
What was how'd you come up with this idea to begin with?
So initially, my background is in Amazon selling, and I did it for a while, and it was fine, but I wasn't getting the satisfaction that I was looking for out of it. Like it was, I started in retail arbitrage, like I think just about everybody does, because they found that YouTube video, and I went into the whole thing on there you go, on our podcast. So I won't.
All right, let's go around the room. What was the first item you sold online ever?
For me, let's see, I'm trying to remember if there was 2 items I'd sent in. I think the first one I ever sold was a Christmas scented like Glade air freshener pack, like
that's
holiday
super
themed.
Random. Okay.
But it was the first thing. It was the first thing I sent in, the first thing I sold.
Cool. Dustin, what about you?
For me, it was an iPad that my wife, or at the time girlfriend, bought me. And I'm a horrible person. I always buy electronics, but then I'm like, why did I buy this crap? So I was like, I want some quick money. So I sold it on eBay. That was my first sale ever.
And Dillon, what about you?
Mine was, oddly enough, a pink Black & Decker electric screwdriver from Target. That was that was the first thing. I would go into every Target, and they would only ever carry like 3 units, but they were super profitable. And so I would just go in, like clean them out like once a day if I could.
That's awesome. So I'm going to channel my inner Gary V here. My first thing I sold online was a Magic the Gathering trading card. The name of that card was the Sliver Queen. So for the nerds listening to this who know what that is a super old Magic the Gathering card, and I sold it for $20 on eBay at like age 12. We all get our start selling online somewhere, so that's cool. All right, so Jonathan, I rudely interrupted you to go down this what was the first item you sold path. How did you come up with the coffee brand?
So I wanted something, my initial thought was pretty simple, right? Like I wanted something that was actually passive. Like we joke about the passive income business, but like I have a day job that I really enjoy, and I have no plans on ever quitting it. But I needed to scratch that
aspiration.
Right. Like
booger? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I needed to find a good place to put that booger, as they say, I'm sure. And coffee happens to be one thing that I do actually appreciate a lot. Like I drink more than my fair share as a 6 foot tall human. And it's always been an industry. It's an industry I've historically known nothing about, but was always really interested to learn everything about. I hadn't found an in that would really, really force me to know everything there was about it.
Dillon, how tall do you think Dustin is?
Right. Well, I just realized that Jonathan's 6 foot and I'm 5'9". That kind of pisses me off now because everybody's taller than me. So that's really annoying. I can't tell. All right, let's see. I'm going to give you either 5'7" or 5'11".
Man, 6'3".
What?
Yeah, I know he's
totally undercutting me.
Dustin's so tall. So
are you sitting on the floor, Dustin? Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah, dude.
It's just how close I am to the camera, I guess.
I'm so sick of being short. This is terrible.
I'm to round out our quad here, I'm 6 foot even. All right. So
sorry, Dillon.
Jonathan keeps setting me up for go around the room questions. I love it.
I'm not tall enough to ride the ride now.
You know Amazon Seller Central account for you. Amazon's maturity phase, new rule. And that's how we're going to get rid of all the short Asians. Oops, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Solve the
All right.
China problem, am I right?
Yeah, all the hacking. All right, cool. So you came with this coffee idea. You think you know more about coffee than everybody in the world, and that's why you've got your own brand now. And you're in Seattle, I'm guessing.
I am, yes. I live
See,
about
total-
15 minutes
nailed it.
outside the city.
Nailed it.
Right.
I could tell the podcast by myself. I can tell. Cool. So you came up with this idea. You're working on packaging. You got this graphic stuff going on, but why Amazon?
So for me, Amazon was, up front, it was never going to be a primary sales channel. Like, I've sold enough shit on Amazon to know that coffee is not, because I want to target a more niche market, the specialty coffee market, people who actually care about their coffee, its quality, how long ago it was roasted, et cetera, like all of those fun things. Amazon, based on the research I had done, people that buy coffee on Amazon don't care about that. So we're not really lining up well. So for Amazon, for me, it's more just an easy get in front of people customer acquisition play. Like the empire will not be built there. The empire is being built off on my own platform, or on Shopify rather, on my own website, using my own branding. Everything I control. I control all the marketing, I control the reviews. Like that was a very, very intentional decision.
So Dustin has been involved on one of our coffee clients, and it has been a difficult account. Dustin, tell me what problems do you think Jonathan's going to run into?
Competitive. It's a super competitive market. So many different coffee sellers. You could be relatively competitive in your space, but still be at the bottom of the page, even if you have great keywords, great advertising. It's just really hard to get people to choose your coffee versus everyone else. That being said, I'm not the biggest coffee drinker myself. So what would you recommend as, I don't know, kind of coffee to kind of get into? I mean, I drink a cup of coffee, but never really been my thing.
Starbucks.
Oh,
I was
kidding. Just log off now, Dillon.
The middle finger is coming on screen. I can sense it.
I had to go for him.
So if you
is that Starbucks with creamer?
Ooh, extra whip, a little bit of flavoring in there, Jonathan.
Maybe some espresso. All right, that was a continuation inside joke from podcast 1.0 for the listeners. It'll make more sense once you go watch the other one. All right.
You know what? I'm done. That'll be the August 21st episode of Welcome to Growth. But you know what? I'm done.
Well, my podcast is going to come out before yours. Gosh dang it!
Yeah. So you're gonna
now the joke is like set up for 20 days.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait for a few weeks. No, you're gonna have to sit on that one. It's it's tough when you don't drink a lot of coffee, because generally you don't know what you don't like, right? Like if you drink on an occasion, you're like, yeah, this gets the job done. It's hard to suggest a place to start until you know more about like what kind of flavor, like not really flavors. Because if someone ever suggests flavored coffee is a good idea, just push them off a bridge.
What do you mean?
I like a flavored cigar.
Yeah.
You like them Swisher Sweets too?
Nobody makes that?
Oh, they do. But I won't mention any brands, but that's the thing that exists. And, when you have an orange citrus flavored
sounds
coffee,
like something a vapor would want.
Yeah. It's, if vape lords could be coffee drinkers, I don't know. The flavors tend to come in like, how, like the roast level, right? Like darker roasts tend to be more bitter, have a more strong flavor. Lighter roasts tend to be, nuttier, creamier, but everyone has their preference. So honestly, I would try them all and see which one you hate least, eliminate that first and spend a few weeks with it. Like it's,
so you're saying coffee's an acquired taste.
It is. And everyone's going to find their different spot. And it's, I could say this is the coffee I really like. Like I prefer a nice spicy medium roast, but Dustin could end up hating it, so I'd say try them all and start with eliminate the one you hate the most first and, spend a few weeks with it. Let it get to know you, get to know it, make it a relationship.
So you got to date your coffee for a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, take it out to dinner, treat it something nice. You know.
See if you can land a nice spicy medium roast.
Ooh, yeah. A little fiery, right? Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome.
All right. So Dustin, you talked about the competition levels. What else have you seen? Talk logistics.
Logistics.
So
I find
margin's been an issue, right, for one of our coffee clients because
They
the
have-
cost to ship it out.
Cost of goods seems to be high.
So
I'm
grocery
sure
in
you're
general is a low margin business, right?
yeah.
And-
Cost of
and-
goods is high, and shipments you can't get around the FBA. Especially if you do FBA, you can't get around the FBA fees. You're going to be paying around $5 or more, plus the referral fee of 15% on top of it. So it's really hard to make a profit. It's really a volume. It's a volume business.
But Jonathan and Dillon, you guys have a strategy to get around this. What is it?
Dylan,
Am I
do you
hitting
know
that,
what our
Jonathan?
strategy is?
Oh, baller. I'm hitting your strategy. Heck yeah. I'm about to get some commission on this. Hold on. So the idea that we have been going back and forth with. So by the way, I'm not involved in the coffee business. I run a SaaS
He
company.
wants to be though. Like every time we talk about this, he gets super
I'm
hyped.
like, hold on, we should talk here.
You want to aspire to that passive income. We know. I get it.
Hey, you know what I mean? Jonathan, just give me 80% of the company, man. I'll be your advisor.
Look, if we can take it to 9 figures, you can have 80% of the company.
9 figures. I love it. Okay, we'll talk.
You put that. We'll put that down right now. We
That
get to
sounds
9
like
figures.
that sounds like an Elon Musk salary offer right there.
Right.
That dude like ballywicked his way into making 5 times more than any other CEO in the world.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Super shrewd, super smart. So the strategy is, okay, if there's no getting around Amazon FBA, but the simple fact is Amazon is a fantastic traction and sales channel, maybe we just revert the perspective of it to a marketing channel. So, okay, you're not going to make any money on those orders. Okay, but that doesn't mean you're not going to make any money on all the orders, right? So the idea is, why don't you use Amazon as a traction channel just to get people to first try you, and then divert the rest of those sales, those second, third sales, over to the actual Shopify site. And the hook there is subscription model, right? So if you like it, don't keep coming back here. It's the same price over here, but the margins are larger. LTV is going to be much higher. So the lifetime value of the customer is going to be much higher because it's, recurring. It seems to make a lot more sense. So it's like, okay, you're going to break even for, let's say, the first 6 months on Amazon. And even if you get profitable on Amazon, it's not really like, you're not there to make money on the Amazon inventory. You're there to get new customers to try your stuff.
Acquisition strat makes perfect sense.
It's all it is. Yeah. I mean, and it's a theory. I hope it works. It seems logical to me, but yeah, it's something me and him have kind of been kicking back and forth, just kind of thinking through, like, is, because you can't negate the Amazon beast, right? It's the elephant in the room. You got to address it at some point, but I think too many people see something and go, that's not profitable, therefore I shouldn't do it. But you're not considering the second order effect of that decision.
Lifetime
Fun
value,
fact,
I think, has to be taken into account with acquisition, right? So you
100%.
have a high repeat order business. And so if you have the ability to acquire a customer at break even or slight loss, you make a profit on order 2 and you make a killing on order 3 through 100.
Yeah.
We all know coffee's super addictive and everybody never switches brands.
Never, not at all.
Yeah, so it seems to make sense. And fun fact, it is profitable to not make money. I know it's a weird thing to say, but when you're thinking about it from a longevity standpoint, from a more strategic standpoint, it is. It makes sense to not make money on all of your inventory when you consider the fact that it's an acquisition channel. Fine, whatever, right? I mean, it's an investment into the brand that in a year's time is really going to have a positive ROI.
So what's your end game, guys? Build to hold or sell in 5?
What are we doing here, Jonathan, with my 80% equity?
at 9 figures.
Always thinking about yourself, Dylan. I love it.
Oh man, come on. We got 20%. Come on. We're a team here.
So this is actually something that my wife and I have discussed because, you know, as we enter we get a little sentimental here for a moment, but as we enter the phase of our life where, you know, we want to like start a family and plant roots and things like that, right? Like we're, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, if she decides she wants to take some years off and raise children, right? Like I mentally have this block where like I can't stand to just lose that income for a period of time, right? So, you know,
Mr. and Mrs. Dink, come on, Doug Funny, let's do it. No, I'm just kidding.
we are living the Dink life now, but you know, it will be the song Syok life soon.
I actually don't get that reference at all.
Yeah, what the heck is that?
Dink is
this dude watches anime. I get it.
dual income, no kid.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then
That's
there's,
what's
so I tried to joke it with single income, one kid, and it totally failed.
You're doing that in real time. I got you.
But
he rolled that one double down.
Yeah. And I went out in flames. It was great. You know, for the short term, it is more of a build and hold just because, you know, we like the idea of supplanting that income with it, you know, at some point in the near-ish future. And then after that, I mean, we decided if somebody approached with a nice offer, I wouldn't immediately turn it down, right? Like even if it was only, I don't know if this is a lot, but like just say even if it was just like a $500,000, like just doesn't seem like a lot for buying a business, but you know, if someone said, "Here's, I'll take it off your hands for $500,000 cash," like, okay, I'll just go build something else after that. You know, like it's not something I can retire off of, but because I have no plans on quitting my job for this, you know, very intentionally, like that's $500,000 in addition to my income, right? So that's, to me, that makes it a little bit more attractive. So I would say a little bit of both, depending on how far out you're looking.
All right. So we know where you've been and we know where you want to go. So now let's talk about things that have gone well and things that have not gone well. Everybody wants to know about the mistakes. So let's start there. Okay. What is the biggest problem that you've run into so far, other than the graphic designer that ghosted you for 2 months?
So, I mean, you know, current day, that's my issue. One thing, when I was first getting into this, one of my biggest, I mean, it was a solvable problem, but it was still, it was a really large hurdle in that a lot of, you know, I don't have the capital to build my own roasting setup, right? Like a commercial roasting setup is like $500,000 at least. You know, if I had $500,000, I would probably be doing other things than this, to be honest with you. So
like buying other coffee brands for $500,000.
I would probably just own somebody instead. It doesn't seem like it's worth the effort to start it from scratch, right? So in my quest to find a partner roaster, a lot of them have small to large minimum order quantities. And that's, you know, even if it's like, I say small, there's really, you know, small is subjective, but in this case, small is like 100 pounds at a time, which if you've seen 100 pounds of coffee bags sitting around, that's a lot of coffee. And I have no way of proving yet if this is actually going to work, right? Like I'm thinking it's going to work. You know, the things on paper say it's probably going to work, but I'm not comfortable buying, you know, a refrigerator's amount worth of coffee if there isn't something already in progress, in motion here. So a lot of the roasters I spoke with, they wanted me to fork over, you know, a not insignificant amount of money in hopes that it works out. And I just wasn't comfortable with that. So finding the roaster, especially early on, was one of the hardest things. And then the ones that would work with me have a lot higher price points. And they know that, right? They're exploiting the fact that they know there aren't many roasters that are willing to do one at a time. They're dropship, essentially. Where they do the roasting, they do the packaging either with packaging you provide or theirs. labels you provide or they print, they ship it out using your shipping account, right? Like it's more or less drop ship, right? But it's not weird and sketchy and strange from China.
So finding a source, as we like to
yeah.
call it in e-commerce, was the biggest challenge. So you accomplished that, and I'm guessing that the source you chose was strategic.
Absolutely.
What was the big win from that?
So there were two things actually that really sold it for me. One was that they're local, like they're literally 15 minutes down the street from here, which was huge because I can then kind of just go over there and talk with the folks about, whatever things I'm thinking of, see the operation, like come up with ways that I can make things easy for myself and them at the same time, right? Net win-win across the board. But then also it was the price point. So I managed to find a roaster here in the area that was roughly 30% cheaper per bag than the next cheapest I had on my list, which, I'm sitting here doing the math and it's like, okay, that's like $1.25, but multiply that times hundreds and thousands and, over the courses of months and years, like that's a significant savings. Like there was nothing that the next cheapest roaster could provide me that would make that extra cost worth it. Like there's more or less the same beyond those two trades.
Dustin, what's the number one complaint we get out of people when selling on Amazon?
I'm not selling enough.
Growth can be one of them. I was looking for margin. So the fact that Jonathan got 30% extra margin is a really great thing because you got your pathway to profitability from the get-go. That's a huge competitive advantage. So I think that's a really good thing, Jonathan.
Yeah. And this is like, to compare the two, the second, I'm just calling the second cheapest roaster. They're also farther away, right? It was a lot harder to contact them. Like I can't just drive down to California and 1,000 miles away and say, hey, let's check out the operation. How can we, like that's especially in the year of our Lord COVID, that's Jesus. Not
2020 is such a crapshoot.
That's just not feasible. So, the fact that even though it was a small operation, it's literally two guys, but like they are incredibly easy to work with, super flexible. Like I could practically ask them, and I almost felt guilty at times, ask them to do just about anything I want. Right. And they're not going to charge me extra for it, where the other place was like, oh yeah, that's another 25 cents. Oh, that's another 10 cents. Like they were going to nickel and dime the hell out of me.
Sounds like you married the right partner.
I think I did.
That's great.
I did.
That's fantastic. Cool. So from here, you're about 30 days from going live or thereabouts.
Yeah.
You're going to do merchant fulfilled instead of FBA to avoid FBA fees.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, I think there's probably one core strategy that you haven't talked about yet, and that is potentially freshness.
Mm-hmm. Yes, freshness is. It's not important to everybody, I'll admit, especially if you're, and this is why I'd mentioned, the cross section of people that buy coffee on Amazon, and my goal of selling, something very specific is that nobody buys coffee on Amazon for their freshness generally. Like, it's going to be sitting in a warehouse. Like you might as well go to your grocery store at that point. The only way to circumvent that and offer something fresh, we're talking roasted last week, roasted a few days ago kind of a thing versus roasted 4 months ago and then sent to the warehouse, was to fulfill it myself. And admittedly that makes it a little bit more difficult because a lot of folks like to shop just based on what has a prime offering. And I understand that. That's fine. Again, Amazon's not the platform for me. I see a lot of my competitors in the specialty coffee space also on Amazon. I see the prices that they offer it at, and I have a feeling they're doing this exact same thing, right? Like I have one pulled up here right now off screen. Their price is half on Amazon. Like that's not by accident. That's a very intentional maneuver there.
Sounds like some acquisitions going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now in the advertising world on Amazon, we've seen a lot of movement and a lot of new segmentation. Hottest ad type on the market today at time of this podcast is video ads. And the next hottest is display ads, followed in third slot sponsored products, which everybody's doing. So my question to you is this: who's your target demographic, and how are you going to get them on camera to give me my Folgers in the air commercial moment?
Well, see, I'm going to go down to Portland and find the hipsterest hipster I can and convince them to join my army. No, I mean, honestly, as far as advertising on Amazon, I have not gotten to that point on the list yet. So frankly, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know, man.
I think it's going to have to get on the list, even if you don't advertise.
It's definitely
Amazon.
on the list as a thing I need to do, but
just in time learning at the last second. Maybe
there we go.
Maybe your strategy. Action dictates the strategy, and it's totally legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
So video ads, I'd say that'd be my words of wisdom to you today, and anybody listening to this. Invest in video content right now. You've put this off too long, those that are listening, and video is expensive, but even a cell phone shot video could potentially be a good stopgap. And at the very least, some still photography, smiling faces, and feature benefits with a voiceover could get the job done. In the case of coffee, though, I think we got to see somebody chugging some coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll chug it.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that the right phrase? Do you chug coffee?
I mean, you can.
You look more like a mugger to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
because you got a pretty mug.
You have to drip it. You have to sip it, and that's when you can enjoy it.
There you go. There's your motto right there.
Yeah.
Kenmore coffee, drip it, sip it. Or did I do that backwards? I don't even know.
No, you're good.
Grip it and sip it.
Grip it and sip it.
This is a family show, Dillon.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Jeez Louise. All right.
Hey,
so
you wanted us on here.
That's true. I did ask for this one. This podcast is not for everybody. All right. So you haven't given a lot of thought to marketing quite yet.
No.
What do you think? So let's do this in real time. So you got a product, you've got a platform, and you need to start marketing this thing. Do you have a budget?
I don't want to have one set in stone. No, I mean,
you're not taking a vacation in 2020, so might as well take the vacation fund and put it into your aspirational 9 figures coffee passive income brand.
Hey, don't speak for everyone, Steven. Some people take vacations in 2020.
Dustin just did take a vacation. Where did you go, Dustin?
I went on a cross-country road trip over 1,000 miles from good old Georgia to the Great Lakes.
How was it?
It was quite fun. Beautiful. Scared of COVID the whole time, but
I can understand.
It was a great trip.
Yeah, I've stayed in my house a solid 6-7 months here. Once this thing hit in China, I saw it coming. All right, so Jonathan, have you taken vacation?
Really? No.
We
canceled 2 of them so far this year.
Yep. So here is your chance to spend your vacation money.
All right.
Where are you going to spend your money? I've already told you video ads is the correct answer, but you didn't know that. So where were you going to spend the money?
The first 2 that come to mind and I wanted to initially focus on was going to be Facebook and Instagram.
Tell me more. Demographic targeting. Do you know what your target demographic is?
Oh yeah, I have a couple that I've been poking at and tweaking, cross sections of, like, the Facebook has a nice specialty coffee interest demographic that seems to be working really well. Other brands, crossing them as well. And in addition, one of the things I wanted to focus on, at least early on, was local, right? Like having an ad set or 5 that focuses specifically on the people within this area, right? Because, people that live here, right, they support local business. Like, there are a lot of crunchy people around here that would die for that kind of stuff. So I don't see any reason why I can't exploit it, or, sell them a thing that they secretly wanted all this time and didn't know.
So Dillon, you've got some e-com shops, and tell me a little bit about your e-com shops and what experience you have with advertising in e-com.
Yeah. Okay. So was an Amazon seller mainly on the wholesale front for a number of years, and then eventually went the software route. That's kind of what I'm doing now. In terms of advertising e-commerce, the most I've done has really been like sponsored products. I realized there's a lot of competition in the PL space for sponsored products, but on the wholesale side, there actually wasn't a whole lot. So I spent a decent amount of time there building out some campaigns, nothing too crazy. But few $100s a day in profitable ad spend across a handful of SKUs. And that's pretty much been it. I actually spend a lot more time, at least now, and there's a lot of crossover doing SEO.
Very good. So the reason I asked that question is because I was gonna say I've observed that the price on ads, especially when COVID 1.0 hit, dropped down considerably. Everybody was like, "WTF? Don't know what's going on. I'm gonna pause everything." Right?
When you should have doubled down.
When you should have doubled down. And then May hits and everything's gangbusters, and then everybody's locked down, and they're like, "Holy crap!" Most of the corporations hadn't got their act together, and they still had their ad budgets paused and whatever. And so all the private labeler growth hackers, like everybody on this podcast, just crushed it, and it was fantastic. So I think COVID 2.0 is going to hit, and then when COVID 2.0 hits, we may see a repeat. We may not. Maybe corporations learn this time and they keep their Facebook and Instagram ads on this time. But I think, Jonathan, that's going to be a pretty good idea. I think going social is the place to be right now. We've also seen. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because the Facebook being Facebook. Thank you, dear leader Zuckerberg. The moment I created the brand Facebook page and like you spent a bunch of time on that, like the competitor coffee ads just started showing up.
I'm still trying to debate whether Zucker is alien or human.
He's definitely not human.
Or cloned, maybe cloned.
I know he's not human. He might be made of organic matter, but he's definitely not human.
First gen AI. That's
it's interesting. Yesterday they had at Congress, they had Zuckerberg testimony, Bezos testimony, and everybody was getting grilled. The main headline that went around for Bezos was that he cannot guarantee that the policy on not using third-party seller data to help his private label Amazon brands hasn't been violated. That was the soundbite that is ricocheting right now. Honestly, don't think I saw a single headline on Zuckerberg's testimony. I don't even know what he talked about.
Yeah, I watched parts of it, and of course it was just a train wreck, just one slow moving train wreck the whole time.
Did he do better this time? Because it was a second time.
It felt. I really don't remember too much about what he said. Obviously,
you're just looking at the facial expressions, trying to debate.
Right, and I think I'm just so used to him just saying words that don't really mean anything, that
to 70-year-old people in Congress that couldn't translate them even if they meant something. Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't like, why are we even doing this? Like, it's like trying to explain to my grandmother how a smartphone works. I had seen a video on Twitter
lives
that
with his grandparents. So yeah.
Oh,
I can understand.
I don't know how to feel.
Moving out soon.
He's been looking for a house, but it's hard to get a realtor right now.
Well, don't look for one in the Seattle market. I tell you that.
Wasn't planning on it.
Oh, good.
Too expensive in cities.
Indeed. But I had seen a video on Twitter of it was a clip from the testimony shenanigans yesterday, but they had superimposed Zuckerberg's like barbecue video. I don't know if you guys seen that, where he's like, "Hey, I'm in my backyard." I saw that, and for I would say at least a good 20 seconds, I thought it was real. Like I legitimately thought that was how he started it. No, they had just, through the power of editing that's clearly better than anything I could come up with, they had put that video up on the screen to make it look like it was part of the Zoom call. And for way longer than I'm willing to admit, I thought that was legitimate. Like I thought he had actually started his opening speech that way. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. And so that's when I realized I don't know if there's anything he could say that would be of note to me anymore, honestly.
Well, good. So a couple of things that have happened to our sellers today, some of our clients at My Amazon Guy. We had 2 clients change their bank details today, and they did this without running it by us first. And so what happened to both clients? Their account got locked. So one of the things I'll let you know, Jonathan, that the journey that you're about to go down, and Dillon may attest to this based on his past experiences, your account's going to get suspended. Your listings are going to get yanked, and you're going to spend more time troubleshooting problems while selling on Amazon than actually doing marketing. So Are you ready for it?
I mean, I jumped through all those bullshit hoops before. I suppose I could do it again if I have to.
What do you mean by before?
So, I have sold on Amazon previously, first retail arbitrage and wholesale. I had left things off with wholesale. So it's like, I'm not unfamiliar to the nonsense that is the entirety of Seller Central.
I gave Dillon all of your Amazon retail ARB experience for some reason.
Oh, good. That's fine.
Apparently, Dillon, you can keep that ARB. So have fun.
It's part of your 80%.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
All right. So that's cool. Any words of wisdom for somebody who hasn't started an Amazon brand so far? What would you say to them?
Honestly, and this is the cynic in me coming out, but the first thing I think of is, do you have to start it on Amazon specifically? Like, think about why you're choosing Amazon over anything else. And if you can come up with a good answer for it, hell yeah, man, do it. But if it's just because you heard a thing or saw a video, like, really spend some time chewing on that for a bit before you dive in, because it's a world like none other, and it can get overwhelming quickly. So be prepared, do your homework, think about it, ponder, be a thought leader if you have to.
Might make you drink a few extra cups of coffee, something like that.
Oh yeah, kenmorecoffee.com.
There you go.
Extra creamer included.
Extra creamer included. We never even got to the creamer jokes. That's great. You'll have to watch the other podcast, guys. Over at the Welcome to Growth with Jonathan Lyman and Dillon Carter. There.
WelcomeToGrowth.com.
Yeah. Cool. So I've been drinking a lot of Mexican Coke, guys. Not gonna lie. That's how I've been getting through
they're
COVID.
So good though.
They are. They're
so good. Yeah, they're my favorites.
There's something about drinking out of a glass versus a can or plastic, and I'm a big believer. Whatever, conspiracy theory, whatever. Okay, cool. So Dillon, you're also involved in some other tools. You mentioned SaaS. Let's give you just a chance to talk that up, and then we'll wrap.
Sure. Yeah. So, kind of got semi-bored with selling on Amazon myself and realized I had always actually wanted to do software. And I'm not an engineer, so that means you have to look out for very unique opportunities to make that work. First started Vendrive.com, which is a wholesale CRM tool for Amazon sellers. And then eventually launching Goaura.com, which is a repricing tool for Amazon sellers. Not really, geared towards private label sellers and people building their own brands. But if you do any kind of retail or online arbitrage or wholesale, that's kind of our target demographic. And so right now we're focused on just building that to a large software company, and just moved to Boston, just opened up new offices. So we're about to be hiring more engineers, which is pretty fun.
That sounds awesome. Probably the most pertinent question I have for you then, you've run an Amazon business and now you run a software business. What's the difference to run, and when I say this,
Sure.
what does it feel like business wise?
Yeah, it's actually very different. And it's not different fundamentally, it's different in the way I approached it. So I think many people try to start a business. I think that's wrong. Let me add a caveat there. If your desired goal is to build something large, that is wrong. If you're just trying to make an extra, a few $100 or a few $1,000s, that's fine. But there's a complete difference in building a business and building a company, in my opinion. It's the way you approach the decisions as the founder, as the business owner. A lot of people start successful businesses, but they never graduate to running a company in the sense of you have employees, you have people actually running a large amount of that company for you. It is difficult. It is more expensive. I mean, to a certain degree, right? Like when, we went from being a remote company roughly 4 weeks ago to having a actual office in downtown Boston and me moving my personal life from Florida to Boston. That's not a cheap thing to do, but it's the right thing to do for what we're optimizing for. Again, there's no right or wrong answer here, but you should approach whatever it is you're doing as legitimate. Don't try to start a little business that you're going to tinker around with and then fail. Like if you want to do this, do it right. You know, you have to have a level of dedication, a level of focus, a level of attention, and a lot of patience. I mean, you know, I have a lot of people like, oh, you guys are crushing it right now. I'm like, yeah, but we've been working on this for 3 years. And I feel like we're barely at 10% of our goal, right? So this is, and I said this from day one, this is a 10 to 20 year play for me. And so when you have a different perspective in terms of what you want to do, it makes it easier. So I've always said, you know, success in my opinion is the amount of focus you can have raised to the power of time. So how focused, how laser focused can,
fast.
I know, right? How laser focused can you be on achieving that one goal, and for how long can you sustain that? And if the answer is as long as I need to and as much as I have to, great, you'll do fine.
Well, perfect. Dillon, that was some good wisdom to end on. And Jonathan, I appreciate you joining the My Amazon Guy podcast today. You guys are great. And,
Thank you.
And anybody listening to this, definitely when Jonathan launches his brand here in 30 days, be one of his first purchasers. Kenmore Coffee, either kenmorecoffee.com or on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Go to kenmorecoffee.com, plug in your email address, special discount for all you pre-launch awesome people.
Subscribe and save.
Just want to say,
I'm your hype man. I'm your hype man.
You gotta earn that 80%, Dillon.
Gotta work, man.
Well, I look forward to doing the follow-up podcast in 3 months from now when you guys hit 9 figures. So thank you so much for coming on. For those listening, I hope you guys click that subscribe button to the My Amazon Guy podcast. Tell 2 or 3 other people. If you're joining us from the Jonathan and Dillon audience, my name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and we grow Amazon sales. Everything from search engine optimization to advertising management to grow your traffic, and conversion improvements like A+ content or enhanced brand content and graphic design. Check us out at myamazonguy.com. And Dustin, you get the last word here. What's it going to be?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Deer in the headlights. All right. Thanks, everybody.
I was hoping for like a really clutch, like coffee joke though.
Yeah, I thought it in my head. I was like, I just don't have it. I'll try, guys. I failed. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the My Amazon Guy podcast. We really appreciate you guys listening in, and definitely check out these guys. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
See ya.
Thank you. This was the My Amazon Guy podcast with Stephen Pope. Each episode helps you grow your sales on Amazon through ideas on traffic and conversion rate improvements. Hit that subscribe button right now to tune in each week. And if you need more help, go to myamazonguy.com.